Hey everyone. So for this weekend, I have two videos prepared. Number one, you're seeing right now, it's my personal top 10 tanks and supporters. Now this is not a list of 20 in total, but the best 10 tanks and supporters combined. So it's, is it 5-5 split? I think it actually is a 5-5 split, but you'll see my top 10. Now, I want to preface this is my opinion, yours may vary. You may be a huge fan of Unit X, while I may be a huge fan of Unit Y, and our perceived value may be different on these units. So, with that said, let's begin with the number 10. And I'll be honest, I put Yoshikiri on this list because I was running out of ideas on who to put on number 10. And I guess Yoshikiri does actually fit in quite nicely. He isn't that important anymore. He's way too niche for my liking. He doesn't really serve any purpose anymore. But the main reason why he's on the list is for his 110 human and Machina killer, which are party-wide. He does have a few strong resistance buffs, mainly ice and water at 120%. He can also party imbue water and ice and amplify at the same time physical and magical by 15%. He has 50% magical mitigation for the team and the ever so infamous 150 LB party buff, which everyone didn't account for the first couple of Dark Visions. So yeah, that is what saved him the spot at the end of the day on my personal list. Number 10 is then our first tank. It's Sacred Shield Charlotte. Her NBA actually did her really well. She does have decent bulk for a Near Vision Awakened unit. She has 90% magic mitigation, although it's only one use per turn. No, one use per fight. This should be one use per fight, if I'm not mistaken. She's a good budget option if you don't have FaZe, for example, who obviously is going to be on the list. But maybe surprisingly at a different place you might expect her to be. And the Sacred Shield Charlotte is pretty strong against demons and undead bosses. In fact, she is, as of right now, the strongest one against these two types. Number 8 is probably without huge surprise Near Vision Snow, Solitary Patron Snow. He doesn't really do much for the team. He may be a decent LB finisher for Dark Visions. We've used him in the past too. Well, we as in I didn't, but everyone else apparently did, because I never pulled him. Near Vision Snow has huge bulk, and the 90% general mitigation actually speaks for itself. He is pretty good, but yeah, the lack of team support, killers, etc., it just makes him... It just nets him a spot very much at the bottom of the list. Number 7, maybe surprisingly so, is Shuyu. While she does have the full healer kit with AoE re-raise, huge heal, stop charm resistance, she's not quite as good as another healer we'll be talking about at the top of the list, and you will see huge differences between her and the other healer that is going to come up in a few minutes. But still, Shuyu, she isn't that bad, and her main role probably is actually DPS more than in the healing, but I thought it was still, or she was still worth mentioning on the supporters and healers list, because she does have a few good things, mainly the huge heals, the stop charm resistance, the element resistance, the very strong barriers, and yeah, she can also, while being a healer, dish out a whole amount of damage if you have the true double hand. Another spelling error, true double hand, TDH, not THD. But yeah, she's pretty sweet in that regard. Number 6, Melia, one of the recent tanks, or the most recent magical tank, I should state. She does have huge bulk. She's another SPR scaling unit, as all magic tanks are. She does have strong mitigation, 75% general and 75% magical. And she does provide a pretty sweet field, which is 100% defense and spirit for her own use, or for everyone's use, but most of the time you're using this for herself to boost her damage, because her damage scales with spirit. But you could use this in tandem with New Vision Snow. That is a strategy that was used 2 Dark Visions ago, where you could use Melia and Snow, have the field up, and both of them would deal tremendous amount of damage. But other than that, Melia also has superb party healing and LB fill rate buffs. She also has a AoE Earth or lightning imbue and 20% physical magical lightning / Earth amplify. And what's also cool is 200% human and beast killer, which may not be that relevant anymore for Dark Visions, because the damage is falling off rather quickly now, especially with the limit burst meta coming up, and who needs chainers if you have tag units, right? But still, 200% human beast killer, it may be decent for Xon shenanigans in trials. Maybe. We don't have any human or beast trials coming up. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know what Aemon is, but I don't think he's either. So we'll see. But still, she's a very, very good magic tank, and safe to say, spot number 6, well deserved on this list. Alright, let's continue with number 5. From here on out, things are starting to get crazy. Well, not with number 5 though, because number 5, unsurprisingly maybe, are Summerfina and Lit. They both have strong heals combined with lots of MP refresh. They provide 120 fire, ice, lightning, water and earth imperiled, though only once per fight. And they have a 84 single target break on demand and 84 break to all targets on cooldown. They also have a party-wide water imbue and 10% water amp, physical and magical, LB fill on cooldown, auto revive on cooldown. They are pretty much a nice discount water LB finisher in Brave Shift 2, but a lot less viable than Shuyu, for example. But on the flip side, their Brave Shifted LB has a 130 water imperil attached to it, so it's pretty sweet. But we've got different 130 water imperils, such as New Vision Lock, for example. And we'll be getting Avalanche Tifa, who I believe also has a 130 water imperil. But still, as of now, Summerfina and Lit, they are a very good supporter with DPS capabilities. And from here on out, this list gets longer and the units are getting significantly stronger. So number 4, King Heeey. Our beefy boy with huge bulk, the Earth Imbue and 20% Earth Amp to the party. He also provides 4 stacks of Party Mirage, which is pretty sweet. He's got the preemptive physical cover, which currently nobody else does have, but we are getting C-Card sometime down the line who also has the preemptive physical cover. But as of now, King Heeey is the only one, and that makes him kind of special already, because when it makes FaZe special, that she has or had the preemptive magical cover, we should also treat King Heeey as special with the preemptive physical cover, although it's rarely used. But it's a cool arena feature, and maybe sometime down the line we're gonna need a preemptive physical cover. Who knows? Other than that, he's got an 80% all element resistance buff. He can provide 70% all stat breaks, 115% all element imperil, which is pretty sweet, but 115 imperils, you'd rather use 120, 25 or 130 though. But it's something if you don't have anything else. But what I find the most important thing is his 150 physical magical demon killer for the party. That is a huge one whenever you're facing a demon boss, especially in Dark Visions final stage, for example, or one of the final 3 stages. Having a unit that can party buff demon killer who also deals good damage on his own with his limit burst, that might secure him a spot, because that way you can just use someone else instead of Mastermind Xon, for example. We've seen this happening with Ashura, where if you had Extant Cleome, you wouldn't use Mastermind Xon. And the same might be applicable to King Behemoth too. Now, I don't know which races the upcoming Dark Visions bosses are, but I believe Demon is not one of them. But maybe sometime down the line. Other than that, he's got the 130 Earth Imperial on his limit burst, which applies before he deals the damage. So that is pretty sweet, but we are currently in a wind meta. So, while it's cool, not needed right now. And like I said, he's a strong LB finisher with defense scaling. So number 3, and with Celes, yeah, some might say Behemoth has the bigger kit, he has more to offer than Celes, and I would say, yeah, you're probably right, but I'm a huge Celes fan, and I think she's the better unit all around. While even though she has a kit that is actually 3 abilities and a triple cast, she still has a few things that I find more enticing. So first of all, she has a built-in Nephesite. Built-in Nephesite is something that pretty much all tanks are missing, and she's the first one to bring this to the table. Now, Nephesite, for those who don't know, this ability allows you to skip 1 magic attack of an enemy. So Amon, one of the trials that we're getting, you're gonna need Nephesite abilities. Idea does have a dual cast of Nephesite, which is also pretty sweet, but Celes, she's a tank that provides it on her own, which is kind of cool. Now, granted, we won't have Celes for the Amon trial, but whenever you need Nephesite, she's your go-to girl. She also reaches absurd amounts of SPR, she's super bulky this way for magic stages, while also having very, very strong mitigations. Now, the only issue might be you'd have to LB every other turn, or ideally every turn, which is probably not suitable. But we'll have to see. I'm still planning on getting her on the JP server and try her out, because I might actually have the gear to make her work. And if I do, I might make a video about her from the JP server. But these things, they are really tied to, can I actually make it in time to pull her, because I don't know if I will have enough time to do it. I still need to farm like 40k Lapis to get her guaranteed, and honestly I'm super lazy. So we'll see about Celes, but she's on my quote-unquote shopping list, coined by Sinsar, by the way. I like this term. So whenever she arrives on a global server, I will pull for her and I will show her off properly. But yeah, the other things that she really does well are her auto attacks, reapply cover, and buffs 200 SPR to herself, 200% SPR. She has party-wide Avian and Dragon Killer. It's only 100%, but it's still something to keep in mind. While she also has 250 LB damage increase for the party. Now granted, most of us, by the time she releases, will be using Zidane for the 300% LB buff. But if you don't have him, she's a pretty sweet substitute. She also provides free 30 LB crystals to the party. It's on a cooldown, mind you, but it's something to take note of, because 30 LB crystals is a lot. It fills most units LB almost entirely. It's at least 3/4 of an LB for Avalanche, Tifa, and Sephiroth, if I'm not mistaken. And it's 3/4 for her own is 40 LB crystals, if I'm not entirely mistaken. But LB and Brave Shift, this is the real deal. It is a party imbue for ice and a 45 ice amp with her Brave Shifted LB. Her base cooldown is 30% ice amp. But yeah, I mean 45 ice amp and imbue, that is pretty darn good, not gonna lie. And we'll have to see whether she'll be able to shift the meta from wind or whatever it is to ice, because that might make her pretty viable. But she's lacking damage, so we'll have to see if it's actually worth it using her instead of DPS just for the Ice Imbue and Ice Amp. Not quite sure, we'll have to see. But she's pretty good in that regard. Number 2, Eurasia. Now, I was considering giving her the number 1 spot just because, take a look at this list. It's huge. Eurasia is just that good. And it was, I'm not gonna lie, I actually used a coin flip to decide who's number 1. Whether it's her or, let's spoil it, it's FaZe obviously. So I was wondering whether FaZe should be on number 2 and Eurasia on number 1 or the other way around. The coin decided it's Eurasia at 2nd place, but this might very well be FaZe on 2nd place and Eurasia on the 1st place, because both of them are just absurdly good. So Eurasia, 75% physical magical beast killer, 75% physical magical demon killer, 100% physical magical insect killer, and the same applies for dragon killer to the entire party. I don't know what this is, but this is crazy already. She also has the ability to remove all imperils from the party. She stores them on herself. She removes attack or attack and magic or defense and spirit breaks from the party and applies them to herself. She's got general physical and magical mitigation, several stat buffs, resistance buffs, 100% LB increase, 40 LB crystals refilled for the party, debuff removal, resistance to blind sleep, paralyzed, confused disease, and petrify for the party. I don't know. This woman doesn't stop. She's just a powerhouse of healing. I don't know how Gumi is going to, or Elam is going to ever top this. There's like literally no way other than giving another supporter the exact same kit and make everything double or triple. That'd be the only way to top off Eurasia here. She's just that good. And number 1 spot, as already spoiled, is FaZe. They are falling behind on the bulkiness. Beatrix and Celes are strong in that regard from this list, but I didn't include Beatrix. She doesn't do really much for the party. She's just another Snow, but as an NVA for magic. She just takes things at face value and that's it, pretty much. But FaZe, yeah, she's the first one to introduce the preemptive cover. It's magic cover. She has 90% resistances to all elements, although it's 2 different abilities. One is lightning, water, wind, light. The other one is fire, ice, earth, and dark to all party members. She also has a party light imbue. Her LB also not imbues, but amplifies light by 25%. And in a Brave Shift, it's an earth party imbue with 100 imperil to earth. She's got 75% breaks. Her super mitigation is permanent, has a permanent uptime with strong magic, mitigation on Narrate's Kiss, for example. AoE re-raise on short cooldown, it's effectively 2 turns unless you trigger the effect beforehand. Her Lagoon Shell is a 100% resistance buff to the party, water, earth, light, dark. Yeah. Her Brave Shifted LB also has the earth amplification 25%. She has LB fill on cooldown with Lagoon Shell, 8k barrier on her Grandes. A fairly valuable 6k heal. You've seen me use this on the what was the name of the trial again? The one with the shell, I forgot the name. It wasn't Arenes, it was the one before that. I forgot the name, but you probably know which one. It's the Aqua boss with the shell you have to destroy that doesn't do anything when you have a Dragoon up in the air. But yeah, all in all, FaZe is a super self-sufficient magic tank, and that's why she deservedly is on my number 1 spot. But again, this could have been Eurasia as well on number 1 and FaZe on number 2. They are really that close in their supporter / tank regards. They're just the best of the best of the best. The 0.1%, so to speak. Alright, and that pretty much sums up this video. I hope you liked it and enjoyed it. I certainly did making this video. I'm curious to read your top 10, for example, of this list. And tomorrow we'll be looking at some of the best STMRs for supporters and tanks, or Super Trustmaster that tanks and supporters provide. I'm not quite sure how to tackle this video just yet, but I'll think of something, and we'll see each other tomorrow for the next one. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.